What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of C Blocks Drops. Joining you here, we did change the name, that's right. Joining you here with my two co-hosts that obviously pay attention week in and week out. Owner of the Globo Gym Purple Cobras and owner of the Solanic Sanitation. Opponents from last week, we'll get into that later. I am the owner of both sides of the Bun franchise. Week 8 is in the books. How we doing?
Great. Let me just save you some time. Great.
Not so great.
Right.
We're going to move past week 8. We're going to look forward to week 9 because we got a big week ahead of us. All division games.
Should, yeah, we should. No, I mean, like, we should take some time.
Like every show, we talk
should.
about, before every show, we say, should we skip the weekly recap because it's really pointless. There's really no reason to go over it this week. We all know what happened. We're going to keep it going and move forward to week 9.
So the 3 and 4
people
Solanic
watching at
Sanitation
home.
took on the 5 and 2 Globo Gym Purple Cobras.
Now 5
And I believe you won. It was. Did you blow them out? Was it like?
Oh, it was a nail biter.
You
It was a nail
You
biter.
could have blew me out, but
It
you
was a
made
nail
the
biter.
wrong fucking start.
You know,
So
that Cooper Rush news, really shook me in my my boots.
absolutely, you got
See, that was the first time ever
I'm lucky.
that a man with the first name threw a touchdown to someone with the same last name, like Cooper Rush to Amari Cooper.
No, I did not see
Is that a real
Literally the first time it ever happened in the NFL. It's crazy, right?
fun fact, right?
It
It's a little
also-
Snapple fact.
There was also, in one of the other games, I believe, the first time that somebody with the last name threw the ball to someone with the same first name. I forget where it was. It might have been. I'm pretty sure that happened.
Well, that's
I'll look it up.
That's
Okay,
not
you
so fun.
just making stuff up?
No. Like I swear this really happened. I promise. It was. I saw it on Twitter somewhere, so it has to be.
But
real.
yeah, me and Jake had a nail
You gotta get
biter.
your shit together for you.
Yeah.
We,
I'll tell you what. This show should be a good prep. My God, you get dumber about a week.
A lot of hostility when you lose a game by 0.4.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go in really quickly. You beat Jake again.
They're gonna say let's go to the weekly recap.
So what happened?
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Once again, you beat Jake. Matt beat Steve. You beat Jake. I beat Alex. You beat Jake. Charlie
beat Jake. Everyone beat Jake.
Charlie beat Tom.
takes down Tom.
Yeah, that was big.
The now Derrick Henry-less Tom.
Big news.
It was a
Big
big
sign.
like
we do gotta get. We gotta get.
It
a
wasn't
signer for
close.
this
We
show.
do need a signer.
We do need
Yeah.
a signer for the show.
You beat Jake.
a lot of arrow.
Yeah.
Jose,
Never get tired of hearing that.
Cider.
Yeah.
Never
You
get
beat
tired of
Jake.
hearing that.
Jose
Not
lost
when it matters,
to
though.
Brock, and Brian beat Foster, and Matt. Did we talk about Matt?
Yeah,
Did you pay
yeah.
attention?
Yeah, did Matt play a game this week?
You're not even paying attention to the shit you're
No,
saying.
we
no,
talked about
I'm
all
very-
we had a whole show dedicated to Matt coming up on a bye week.
I'm very much, yeah.
Yeah, Matt had the bye
I'm
week,
in
so-
tune. I just didn't know Matt had a game this week. I saw
Matt
I
had a
saw
game?
him on the app, and then I looked on the other side, and there was a blank slate, so I figured out.
Might as well.
So with that, today we promise you 2 more teams. We're going to really break down B Block's finest
Finish up the
and
East here.
finish wrapping that up today, and then maybe we'll get into some other teams if we have time.
I
But
think that team was finished
right,
6
right.
weeks ago.
Oh, that's your right hand man talking, Steve.
No. Nice shot.
No, seriously, we're going to break down teams that have a chance of making the playoffs.
We're just not wasting our time and everybody else's time.
We're going to break down Charlie's team, the C Block's biggest loser, and I never get this one right.
When is he
man.
going to change
Shirts
that?
off,
I don't know.
pants down. It's gotta be
Shirts
changed.
off, pants
He
down.
He
That
needs
needs
a
to be
name
changed
change.
too.
Both those names suck.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
2 shitty name teams, 2 name teams that are hanging around. They're
Absolutely.
4 and 4.
They had a big week. They both
Yeah.
won. And
Charlie won in
were
a
able
dominant
to have
fashion.
Me
Yeah.
and Tom lose.
He got high of the
which
week,
is
didn't he?
huge.
He did get high of the
Yeah,
week, his
yeah.
second of the year.
Yeah. East 8 in a row.
Yeah, eight high of the weeks for these.
And it shows. I mean, it
It
just
does.
shows in the points.
It very much does. None by Steve.
No,
he didn't get it.
He's in the West right now.
Yeah.
Steve might as well. Steve's the team, the
He's
sixth
in
team
the
in
South.
the West. Steve sucks over there.
All right, well, but
I
first
don't think he's gonna watch it.
No, he'll watch it.
He won't see that.
he'll be the first one tuning in.
He has no point. There's no point for him to watch anymore.
I'm going to get an angry text about this. Watch.
You want shit else to do? What's he gonna do? Pick up players for his fantasy team?
Well, speaking of that, do you want to go into the waiver
Yeah,
wire?
why not?
He spent a lot of money.
Steve spent a lot of money.
He spent a lot of money.
Oh man,
He has
that
the
shit.
least amount of money left.
Yeah, he does. And he's got the worst record in the league. Oh, I'm sorry. Jose has the worst record. Steve will let you know that, too. I'm about the worst. I'd be fucking fighting in the West.
That was in the West.
If he was in the West, he'd be competitive.
If I was in the West, I compete with Jose every week.
Yeah, all right, let's stop shit.
All right. Let's jump right in. I'll let you go through the fab breakdown like you did last week, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So the big name, Joe got the big name early before waivers even ran.
Glitch in the Matrix over
Yeah.
If I gotta look at my phone.
Did you see there were some implications made by that statement by Brian.
Yeah.
But Joe picked up Adrian Peterson while he was a free agent for $0. To be fair though, I think you were really Matt might have been the only other team in the position.
Jake very much could have picked him up.
No,
Brian
but me and Jake
also
also had to field a team. Like we didn't
he had
have
Justin
players.
Tucker on his bench.
I was not dropping.
Really?
Oh, so you couldn't have picked him up then?
No.
Okay. Brian had.
I dropped the other.
He also had 2 people on bye, I believe, on his week. No, he had Sterling Shepard coming up Monday night. He still was available.
I know, I had Butker, but I couldn't because of the game situation, and then I couldn't because I wouldn't be able to start a full line.
Brian could have dropped wide receiver 1 Sterling Shepard.
I didn't think about it until like 11:30, and I'm like, oh shit, I can
I did that shit in my sleep.
Pick him up.
Well, I mean,
and I
not
went
to
to look
put
at
in
it at
figures.
lunch, and I'm like, no, and I'm like, oh, shit. I typed the name in, and then Peterson came, and I'm like, what?
It pays to know someone. You know the commish. You get those little.
Yeah, I mean, like that thinly. I think that was a thinly veiled, corruption accusation.
It just goes to show you that, there are some owners that
was a great move.
That know, yeah. I mean, can I
move.
play football and make these players make points? No, but I mean, I tell you what,
if we could.
Yeah, I'd probably do much worse than my players.
Yes.
But from my end of things, I do what I can as an owner.
Well, the Lions are probably going to have an opening next year, so I mean.
Yeah, I play receiver for the line.
Throw the ball to Hawkinson.
No, it was a good move. But yes, Mike had the most spent fab.
Yeah, I dropped 23 on Jeremy McNichols. Overpaid a little bit. I had 19 in initially, and then I kind of went up because I was like,
what was the next highest bid?
Steve had 15, Tom 14, Brock had 12.
Okay, I think I had like 3.
Yeah, you. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a little more competition. I guess you getting AP kind of took.
Yeah, I didn't.
Kind of everybody else was like
on my team.
I didn't even put a bid.
Yeah. And then Steve, Devontae Parker, $15.
That one's dumb.
Matt had 8. Tom had 6. How many did you have?
I swear to God, I put in at least I think it was a $12 bid.
I might have missed it.
$12 bid on Devontae Parker. I thought that was going to get it done. I actually bumped it before I went to bed, but Steve 15.
I mean, Steve needed a receiver. We just spent 15 minutes clowning on him, but that's a good pickup for him.
Yeah.
Then Steelers. Charlie dropped $14 on the Steelers, which. I mean, I guess it's worth it.
Almost doubles the high spend. I think I spent $8.
No, you spent 11 on the Cowboys, didn't you?
Was it that much?
I think it was.
11. I think
Tom spent 13 on a kicker. I don't know what he spent on defense.
Regular was putting like 7, 8, but
he put 7 in on this.
Okay.
Then Steve again, $13 on Carlos Hyde, which I mean could pay off for him this week. If
that's
Robinson
what we do on this show. You watch our show, you get better.
Absolutely.
Coming into this week, he had Robbie Anderson and Brandon Ayuk, and he converted that into a potential starting running back. Maybe a couple days too late, and Devontae Parker.
Yeah. He actually has another. He actually has another decent pickup later on. But I overspent on the Saints because I thought the way defenses have been going, as we just mentioned, I was gonna have to pony up. I spent $8. I think Jake got a steal. Van Jefferson for 5.
That's the
handcuffs is Cooper and Cup.
Yeah, just in case.
Darnell Mooney. Brock is the latest one in the league with the case of the Moonies. $3.
Yeah, end of the year. We got to see how much money we spent on this guy.
That's what his 5th, 6th team, something like that.
He's made his rounds throughout the league.
Yeah,
East and West.
He's a hoe.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. But we should definitely see how much money we'll spend on this guy at the end of the year.
He has been part of half the transactions.
Yeah, but I don't think it's been that much.
And I'm sure,
the funny thing is,
I'm sure he's in every trade discussion when he's on the roster. Like, well, I'll give you Mooney. It's like, well, I can pick him up in a week or 2.
Then Tom at 8 with Tua. I'm not going to try to say his last name. $2. Tagovailoa. Is there an N in there? No, whatever. $2 by Tom. Which a little I guess they're playing the Texans, right? So I guess maybe that's the thought process there.
They are playing the Texans.
Because Brady's on bye.
I got on one of the other trains here.
$9. Another guy that's been making the rounds to the league.
Kenny
Galladay, $2 by G. You didn't learn your lesson last year with this guy?
Nah, well, I'm just stocking up on wide receivers. I got buys coming up.
And then $10, not $10. Number 10 was the Cowboys, $2 by Jake again.
Yeah.
That brings the total he spent on that defense to 18.
That's not true.
No, it's not. Joe got Zach Ertz for $1, which, I mean, I'm surprised considering there was a lot of tight end needy teams this week.
Speaking of tight end needy teams.
Who didn't even bid. And then Steve got Tyler Conklin for $1, which again,
It's another starter. Steve started him this week.
Yeah. Tom actually picked up. I actually had $1 in on Ertz and Christ, I'm gonna mess this name up. Freiermuth. Yeah. And I looking back on it, I think I'd rather have them flopped. I probably would rate Freiermuth higher than Ertz.
Yeah, I think he's getting a lot of.
Yeah, I just had them. That was the order they were in, so I just put them in.
I mean, for you, it's literally.
It's a 1 week rental.
Who are you playing this week?
Foster.
Yeah. So, congrats on the win. Yeah, like just, I don't even think Brock has a tight end right now, which is just it's puzzling to me that he didn't bid on Ertz, he didn't bid on Conklin. Tom got some of the post waiver wire moves, because people love waiting after the fact. Tom got Freiermuth for free. Jose picked up the Dolphins. Steve added Taysom Hill, and then Bry added Daniel Carlson, Devontae Freeman, and Jordan Love.
Don't love that.
No, I mean, I guess he's not confident in Kyler Murray.
He didn't practice today. The coach said that if he doesn't practice all week, he still has a chance to play Sunday. But again, we saw what happened with Dak Prescott. You probably don't want to go into Sunday, that situation. It leads to you having a 0 in your quarterback spot.
We're speaking to somebody.
Yeah.
You paying attention, Alex?
That's all the pickups this week. I know there was a lot of movement there, but we also had a pretty big trade.
Really? You think it was big?
No.
Yeah, I thought it was more like
It's cool to see someone get moved.
Charlie's my best friend, by the way.
Yeah, it's you and Charlie are building that relationship with owners, and 2, 4, and 4 teams trying to climb up the ladder. He did beat him
last year. I beat him
to
start off the season too.
Yeah, I mean, so Dan Arnold for Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Charlie had a couple tight ends on his roster, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
He's got Mark Andrews, who I traded to.
Yes.
So we've just been swapping tight ends. Oh, well, no homo. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This is an inclusive show.
Oh, it's been a hell of a time.
Cancelled.
Guys. We are canceled. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
you too. I got shit to do with me.
Somebody just lost a lot of money.
I would not have taken that bet. Yeah, I had all my chips on the
Gronk.
We had to put sensors in for this dude last year.
I'm tired. I could have whole segments.
It's a big year last year.
Like Gronk, he's on bye. After that back spasm, I'm done with this guy. I'm done dealing with it. I'll just wait for Dawson Knox to come back, and Dan Arnold's been getting a lot of targets, and I think they're a shitty team. They're gonna be playing from behind a lot.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Tampa Bay's got a great end of the season schedule. Washington, New York, Giants, Colts, Falcons, Bills, Saints, Panthers,
Bills and
Jets.
Saints are tough.
Yeah. But you're 16, 17.
I mean, yeah, come on, like
Yeah.
every offensive piece on the Bucs has some kind of value.
Yeah, I agree. I see that trade. I mean, for you, Dan Arnold, you didn't have to put up with hindsight. I
thought like Tom needed a tight end, you needed a tight end, Brock needed a tight end.
I did. In fairness, I did tell you I was only spending $1 on a tight end.
Yeah, you did. Somebody else missed one too. But it's just like especially Tom has been impossible to peg down with what he's gonna like spend on something.
There are a lot of things you're saying there today.
Like so I just was like, I'm not dealing with it. I thought I did think there was gonna be more spent on tight ends, but I was clearly wrong.
You screwed up your fab this week. I know that, man. You got everything wrong with fab this week.
What do you think? What do you mean?
You overspent on the defense. Then you overspent on somebody else.
McNichols?
You thought you thought all this money was going to be spent on tight ends. Nobody spent any money on tight ends.
Well, to be fair, I didn't spend.
But you beat me this week, though, right? Just in case anybody didn't know that.
Take the chance and see what happens. I think that's all of the transactions this week, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then the big news was Derrick Henry.
Yes, the big news for sure. There have been a lot of injuries.
Shook up the league
This week.
especially the division.
But Derrick Henry, going down. Tom's team really reliant now on. He has 2 Viking receivers, so limited upside there, and who knows if Christian McCaffrey's going to hit the field again this week.
Yeah.
Could take another week. I know he's practicing today, but
Yeah, you got Fant
you
on
never
the
know.
COVID
Fant's
list,
on the COVID list.
COVID.
Yeah, losing Henry was devastating for
If you're
Tom,
gonna
especially
do
for the season.
But if you're going to do it any week, and this is the week for Tom, he's got
Who's he playing?
Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Sorry, what was that? Yeah, but I mean, like, all right, well, you and Tom are kind of battling back and forth at the top. Now Matt's kind of snuck in there, but how do you see that going for him? Like, is this how confident are you now that you're
last week? This sucked. Like I said, 6-2 would have been. I feel like I would have been on. I started looking at playoff matchups, but I really think I would have been on cruise control at least to a playoff spot. But now I got Bri and Charlie nipping at my heels.
Which we're going to get into
Yeah,
later.
absolutely, yeah. And they both got good teams. They both score.
Yeah.
And I said it to you off air. I'm due for the down week. I think everyone's had a down week, the under 100 week. I'm pretty sure I haven't. So
You have not. I think the lowest points you've scored was 108 or something.
Yeah,
like
107
that.
point something. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
I'm due for a down week. So you pencil in maybe another loss.
There's no better way to kick off a down week than the Ben Simmons Loser Award
Oh
of the
yeah,
week.
absolutely.
So,
yeah, for my point 4
guys, he's
loss.
still not mentally ready. Leave him alone.
This is
Not accepting the help of the Sixers. Another quick update on the Ben Simmons fiasco.
not a basketball show.
He just lost his stand here.
He's lost more than that.
But whatever. This is going to be awarded to you. You get to hang on to this for the...
I got it.
This guy can't even stand straight. But yeah, 0.4 loss, dropping to 5-3.
Yeah. Okay, I think you officially broke that.
Nah, I figure it out. You just gotta put it. It's
Just
like building a
go
puzzle.
on with your show.
Gotta put the things in the actual holes there.
Man, you guys are alright, bro.
Alright, well, that is the
That's
best.
where Ben- that's where it belongs.
The Ben Simmons loser of the week. A lot of chances this week for Damian Lillard in Philly.
Yeah,
He mentioned brotherly love in the press conference. Do with that as you wish.
Yeah, they were serenading him.
Yeah, of course. Only way to win a championship. But we're gonna get into another segment here that everyone seems to enjoy. Seems like the only segment people enjoy. So we probably could just run a 5-minute show.
Not even.
Well, I'll tell you what.
How much thought you put into it?
Just be
Yeah,
talking.
I think,
Here are the power rankings at
Yeah.
12.
We have a blast here, regardless of what people think.
Absolutely.
All right, number 12. Start 12. Yeah, let's start 12. Steve, number
this
11.
Is big. This is a big decision here, 11 and 12, because I think
It's
we're gonna
actually
flip-flop.
the hardest decision.
There are
each
3
week.
teams that are like fighting for those 2 spots.
The hardest decision each week is 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, we'll get through them really quickly here. I kept them exactly the same. Steve, number 12.
Well, quick question: Does Jose hold on to the official? Because I know this is like devastating. Does Jose hold on to the last place and do the board? Who comes in last?
I think it depends on like if Saquon and Kareem come back and actually produce.
Because they both got really bad teams.
This is a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
We talked about Steve having rough matchups at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So Jose, he's gonna have a couple Alex Foster.
Yeah, a couple
maybe.
winnable games.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna put Steve at 12, Jose at 11, Alex at 10. Alex was the toughest one this week. I almost moved him down all the way to 12, just out of like
Sheer disrespect.
that was. It didn't feel good beating him this week. I felt I played 9 to 8.
You felt like you played Steve this week.
Yeah. It felt like week 1 all over again.
Yeah.
What we gotta get is like I gotta get like a counter, like a Steve like joke
Ding!
counter. It's like
just get him picture him in a septic form.
No, I'm gonna get the ad they have on YouTube. Don't you pointed out? Doesn't he have
every time
he's
we
got
say
an
his
advertise.
name.
There's an advertisement on
He does have
YouTube
an
that he's
advertisement
in.
on
Well, every time we say his name, his face like smiles and shit. Ding.
Number 9, Foster had a tough loss to Brian last week. See, I mean, if he takes me down this week, you know,
He could be back. He
jump
was
off
in
the
it.
spot,
He fell
yeah.
out of it this week. He might be able
I
to
think
get
that'll
back.
depend on James Robinson, right?
Probably, yeah.
Or if he makes a trade.
Number 8, Brian. Number 7, we have Charlie. Direct just results of someone else jumping up into the top 5. To prove to Brian and Charles, it's no disrespect personal, I have myself at number 6, so dropping out of the top 5. I think
Even after scoring
Yeah, I think it just could have put up a. It's the receiver spot. Ridley leaving my team for a little while.
Yeah, it does.
To be fair, you also had Lamar on bye.
I had Lamar on bye. I'm not worried about the points. I'm more worried about Ridley. My wide receiver 1 is literally Kadarius Toney.
And you can have him up as much as you want.
So he's going to be a wide receiver 1, but
there you go. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, but he's doing right. We had a talk. I told him get right for the playoffs. He's going to be back, and so we'll see how it rolls out. But
Cortland Sutton's available.
Yeah, I'm aware. Number 5 is Brock, still holding that 1 spot ahead of me because he beat me. Number 4 is where it gets interesting. Tom.
Ooh,
Derek,
that's a big slide.
Down 2 spots. Derrick Henry, I just want to see. I want a prove it game here. Show me you're still putting up points without Derrick Henry.
The thing that sucks is that he don't have to prove anything this week.
He's playing C.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But
So he might be staying in for until next week.
Under 100 points this week.
There you go.
Yeah, this is the first time he's looked kind of mortal.
Tom's power ranking, I guess, will be based off his performance, not the winner loss.
I marked him down for the win already.
That sucks.
Number 3, biggest jump of the week from 7 to 3. Beat the number 1 team. Had the man to the right, sign sanitation. He's 2 spots behind me in the standings, but I have him 3 spots above me in the power rankings.
Good team.
His team is good. I think he has potentially 2 top 5 running backs from here on out.
Absolutely, yeah, they are good. Both of them.
And his receivers are much better than mine. So
yeah, they play.
They I had 5 receivers unplayable this week, and somehow still beat Alex by 40 points.
That's a whole separate issue.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Number 2, probably not gonna like this, but I have Matt coming in number 2, and despite the loss, still coming in number 1. I have the man on the left, Jake. So 2 of the top 3 teams here at the table. I am not one of them, but
2's interesting. I think people have a little bit of a gripe with number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're what? You have over 100 points more than him. You put up more points than him this week.
I'm saying I think you're going to hear something from maybe Brian.
Brian should be 2.
Ahead of Matt. I'm not saying 2, but I think Brian.
Speaking of Brian, he has told me that we will be getting his tier updates next week. Next Tuesday, he will be sending me his team tier updates.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Next week's show is going to be
a banger.
What? Oh, yeah.
Next week's show, we're going to have not 1, but 2 shows next week. Oh, we are moving to 2 shows per week for only a 1-week exclusive.
If there's any trades. I'm not wasting my time talking about anything.
Barring how many kids Jake picks up on the way home.
That as well. How many little Muslim kids I have to pick up on the way home.
Here we go. But our trade deadline is next Friday morning, so probably think of it more of like a Thursday night, 3 a.m. on Friday.
A hard deadline at 3.
Yes.
It's normal. Soft deadline wherever you want.
We will have a
cup of Joe ready, guys.
Pre-deadline show on Wednesday, a post-deadline show on Friday, and I mean I'm off on Friday, so I'm willing to get on if we want to do a live show until 3 a.m.
No.
I actually agree with you.
At 3 a.m. I actually get up for work, which is terrible deadline.
Set the alarm for 2:55 that day.
I can't.
It's 5 more minutes. That could make or break a championship.
The day. That could make or break my entire day, that 5 minutes. Now, next week should be fun.
Short-term struggles, long-term success.
I think we had a little bit of fireworks last year at the deadline. I believe me and you made that deal.
Yeah.
That eventually screwed me in the playoffs.
Every year we've had a good trade at the deadline.
Yeah.
The one year, we had LaShawn McCoy and Zeke.
We had a 5 for 5 trade at the deadline.
Yeah, I think we will see something.
Some fireworks?
I think so.
Not that big. I think it may be a big name player, but I don't
think more of like what we had last night. Maybe the one from I need this player. I need a player here. You know
I
what
think
mean?
a Pro Bowler of some sort will get moved.
Who?
Yeah, I see some moves. Like I don't think Dalvin Cook's getting moved or anything like that.
Off the top of your head, who would be your top candidate to make a move? I guess. Who's in the most dire position to make it? Who's in the most dire position that could still?
I would mark.
Could still do something here.
Brian.
I think Tom from the East.
Charlie's team's kind of set, you think, right? Like Charlie's kind of.
Charlie
can upgrade.
Like, Charlie is my best friend, but I've been on Charlie's side this whole year. I love his team. Like I think he's got.
But could it get past? Can it get past my team? Can it get past Tom's team? Or does he need to make a move to? Because we're projection 120. If Tom had a full lineup, 125.
I think personally, if I was Charlie, since I guess we're gonna get a little ahead of ourselves, giving out free advice here. I would put together like a couple of those promising running backs, like Michael Carter, somebody else, and try and upgrade that spot.
That spot. All right. Yeah. So there is a spot Charlie can upgrade.
Of course, yeah.
So,
there's always an upgrade.
Right. But do you think Brian would be the?
I think Brian.
You're going Brian.
Brian's always on the grind.
Brian needs to.
I think Brian's always on the grind.
I
think he does. That's a good pick too.
See, I don't think you're kind of getting what I'm saying. Who needs to make the move to get into that next tier? Does Charlie have the team that could be in that tier? Like, could Charlie get past me or Tom to get to the championship?
Oh, well, I don't know. Brian hasn't sent me the tiers yet.
I think Tom. I still say Tom.
Tom needs to make the move.
And not to get in the playoffs. I think the team he has now is still very much capable of making the playoffs. I think if he wants to take that next step in the playoffs, maybe reach for the bye. With Henry going down,
which is going to be huge in our division. I said that to Matt.
Yeah,
I said, Matt, if you can hold on to that one and avoid having to put that lineup out there twice in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like, that's huge for you.
Going off of what Joe said about Tom, I think Tom will, and he said as much to me. Spoiler alert! Like, he's waiting to see what happens with CMC. If CMC comes back and plays,
1 week.
I don't think.
How much time? What if he don't play this week?
I mean, that's a question for Tom, but
if you don't play this week and you don't make a move, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's pressure you got to put on him, but I think
God forbid 3 weeks from now they're like, no, we're just shutting him down for the year. You know what I mean?
Well, then that's great for you.
Because that's a 21-week window, and that's it. Like, so I guess maybe you're right. He's in a really, really weird position right now.
Yeah. That's why
I think he's more confident in his team than Bry is in his. I think Bry's feeling the pressure. I think Bry's a salesman too. I think he's a natural salesman.
Is there anybody in the West that you think could make a move from the bottom three?
From the bottom three?
To jump into the playoffs, or do you think we're kind of set here?
To jump in? I mean, Foster might make a deal, I think.
Yeah.
I think Foster might make a deal. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure me and Joe will be fielding calls.
That's all. I just wanted to get a little into the trade deadline.
I think we're pretty much set for the playoffs. I think, again, there's still...
Orderings.
Yes, me, Brock, Mike can be... Me and Mike still, like, I'm 2 games up, but we play each other twice still.
But that 2 becomes 1.5 basically because he has
points.
The points.
Yeah,
the second you are tied, he jumps right ahead.
Unless, it's early. Yeah. He's only up.
And you just got to play each other again, I'm assuming, right?
We play twice. So.
No. Good. So we got to get into the year. Yeah, that's all I have for the deadline. I just wanted to get a little thought on the deadline next week, next Friday.
And those are the power rankings. But let's go.
We got a whole show next week.
We promised you guys a breakdown of a couple more teams. We're going to focus in on the East tier, keeping going. So, to update you guys, we talk about Jake's team, we talk about Steve's team.
If you could call it that.
So we're going to continue with the East and go on with 2 additional teams. We're going to talk about C Block's biggest loser first. That is Charlie's team. If you hear us reference Charlie, made a trade with Mike. Let's go ahead. We'll jump right in the quarterback where it wasn't interesting, and then this week it all of a sudden became interesting. He has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, and he did make a great pickup last week of getting Kirk Cousins on his roster. So I'm going to ask the question, who do you think scores more points to end the season, Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers?
So who scores?
Rodgers could potentially...
Who gives you more fantasy points from here on out?
Rodgers could potentially miss 2 games, right? Because he was immunized, not vaccinated, I think.
He was not vaccinated.
Right now, Kirk Cousins averages more points than...
Well, not average. Just
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying, he averages more points. So right now, he's probably in the lead of fantasy points. Unless the buys have worked out. I don't know how the buys worked out,
but... the Vikings have been on bye already. The Packers have not. So, Aaron Rodgers is technically quarterback 9. Kirk Cousins is quarterback 12.
I'm gonna say Kirk.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have Kirk.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Kirk. See, for the next 2 weeks, but I think I would rather have Rodgers for the rest of the season, to be honest. Especially given that Charlie has Devontae Adams as well, and that the stack is always a very powerful.
It's a big hurt sometimes too. I mean, if you miss.
Naturally, it could be a double-edged sword.
Well,
but
the thing is, it's not 2 games, 3. Because the earliest he can come back is the 13th, which is that Saturday.
And then
if he misses the game on the 14th, he has
the
bye coming as well. And his matchups in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs are Baltimore and Cleveland, who
you can throw on Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
You can throw on Baltimore. I know they manhandled the Chargers, but
they've been turning it around though. I think you can too, and I think it'll probably be a higher scoring game. But
at the end of the day, it would still come down to Kirk Cousins did not look particularly great against the Cowboys.
He's Kirk Cousins.
Exactly. I mean, who do you trust more? Like, going to your point, I mean, if Rodgers does miss 3 games, like, sure, net points, Kirk might actually beat out Rodgers, but...
Ironically enough, if Rodgers were to miss 2 games, the game he comes back before the bye is Minnesota. So Kirk Cousins will be playing Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, if I'm Charlie, I'm not dropping Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe unless somebody makes
my next question.
A crazy...
I'll say he becomes a drop at that point, right?
Yeah.
Crazy...
If you're going to go with Cousins.
Would you drop Gallup and put him to the IR?
Probably. I don't think Charlie really needs Gallup, to be honest, given his roster construction. Like, when is he... It's a nice depth piece, but,
when's he actually going to start?
Exactly. I mean, he's got Adams, Hill, Claypool.
Is Adams out this week?
I do not know.
He didn't return from...
It says he's going to be back to practice tomorrow.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so he'll be good to go.
Yeah, because Adams is vaccinated, so he's got a shorter time of return.
He just has to get 2 negative tests or whatever, and no isolation, I don't believe. Cool. Well, that was a pretty easy conversation. We'll jump into his running backs then, where his running backs, I mean, coming into the year, I think we all said, if any of his running backs come around, his team's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
He has DeAndre Swift, who has been...
The real deal.
Looking like the real deal, and Detroit right now is looking like a terrible team, but it fits DeAndre Swift. It's check down. If they need to throw the ball, they're always down. He's their passing down back. He hit gold with Herbert for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Montgomery coming back maybe plays into that, but now he has Michael Carter shining through. I believe Michael Carter has the second most targets over the last 2 weeks of any player.
That Mike White guy.
Yeah, just check down,
Like, he does not... I think I saw, like, the average depth of the target was something like 3 yards, 4 yards.
23 targets to Michael Carter in the last 2 weeks. 14 last week.
That's the nice thing about him is that he don't just run the ball. He's
last year with McKissick, right?
He's the guy the pass right now.
Yeah.
How many points was McKissick averaging for you last year?
Like 11
yeah,
like 12.
When they were just dumping it off nonstop.
Patterson.
Alex Smith.
That's what it is.
He's their goal line back too. I mean, Carter's in on the goal line. I know Ty Johnson.
Even when they're down, he doesn't get game scripted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the guy actually catching the ball when they're down. It's nice.
He's probably a plug and play from here on out.
Oh yeah.
Until he shows otherwise.
Charlie will start having a flex. Yeah. His problem will start being the flex. You figure Carter, Herbert, and Swift.
Just figuring it out, not even who you play. It's just like,
do I want to start the receiver? Do I
got Chuba Hubbard still
with 3 running backs? Yeah, and if he goes out for the year, you know what I mean? Like, he misses a couple more weeks.
Charlie has done gangbusters with his running back, like, scoops this year.
He put together something that I didn't think he was going to be able to, I'll be honest with you. When he drafted his team, I didn't think he was... I thought, not that he was down there with the bottom Steves.
I love this team.
But, I didn't think his running backs were going to hit the way they did.
I do believe we all kind of said Jose and Steve didn't draft the best team.
I remember drafting.
And it's funny it actually turned
Jose's was very puzzling.
Yeah,
because he's normally pretty sharp. I think he's well regarded. I mean, I think we've said it before. He went so heavy on the Seahawks, and then
very different.
I don't know personally. I don't know. Maybe you guys know otherwise. I don't think he made any attempt even early to try and
move,
spread any of that around.
We'll talk about Jose in another show, but so running backs. I mean, I anything he does before the deadline, we kind of talked about it a little bit. You mentioned maybe you package. If Montgomery comes back and CMC comes back, it does get a little thin.
Yeah, but you got to make the move now because Herbert's playing good and Montgomery's not.
Right.
So what you got to do is package 2 of them.
I think honestly,
you felt like Carter and Herbert were worth a Dalvin Cook type of player. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't think he could cook off of Steve's. But
if I'm Steve though,
that's a good move.
Not to go back on Steve's team, but
Herbert helps him.
Herbert and who did you mention? Carter.
Yeah. I wouldn't give Swift.
If I'm Charlie, I might not even. I mean,
if you're going for it,
Carter has legit floor. He might have a higher floor than Dalvin Cook right now.
You know who I think? Yeah. You know who I think actually, ironically enough, would be a good trade partner for him? Matt.
Matt needs a running back.
Yeah, Matt does need a running back.
The problem is, I don't know what Matt gives Charlie.
That's a good point.
At 6 and 2, you don't know.
Well, it's just because Matt's
And then
has receivers now to move, and Charlie doesn't need receivers. Yeah.
No, he doesn't need receivers.
Well, this week, yeah, they absolutely would not make a deal.
Anything else with the running backs that you think here? Like, do you think? I mean, let's fast forward. Charlie, let's say if he starts putting a win streak together, Michael Carter, Swift are probably the two he's locking in each week.
Yeah, and then like I said, depending on the Montgomery situation, Herbert, and then depending on the McCaffrey situation, you have Hubbard. Yeah, and
we haven't even mentioned Javonte Williams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Charlie has one of the best rosters in the league.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, and like he doesn't. The Rodgers news hurts him a little bit, but like other than that, going top to bottom, he doesn't really have a huge glaring weakness.
Yeah,
he's been hurt and he's got his handcuff. He's been hurt, but he does have his handcuff with Swift. He has Williams, so yeah.
I think Charlie will be sneaking into the top 5 of the power rankings next week.
Yeah,
it's a slow climb, but he's getting there.
Like I said, that week was huge for him. Him and Bride last week was huge with me losing and Tom losing. Really
How crazy would it be if both of them get in the playoffs and you and Tom or you and
That's the way the cookie crumbles, man. That's just fantasy.
Of the 3, I still think Jake's the safest.
Matt
currently.
I do as well.
Had the most points last year in the league and didn't make the playoffs. You know, it depends on you saw his schedule, so it just depends on her schedule.
Let's jump to receivers then really quickly. I don't know if we need to touch on these guys.
No.
His receivers are Chase Claypool is his wide receiver 3, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. He went with the 0 RB strat this year.
And he
hit on a lot of.
Yeah, he went Adams, Hill, Swift.
Yeah.
Barring any moves, he's just hoping that these running backs can carry him, basically.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think we even need to go into that. Although
now Claypool's the one we were talking about for the flex. So if the 3 running backs stay and they're able to keep playing, you would have to make the decision on Claypool starting over either Herbert or I guess Carter.
Yeah, I was curious to see if the Broncos might have traded Gordon to the Titans.
Matt was talking about that. Matt's like, that would benefit me
huge.
and Charlie if he can get somewhere.
Yeah. I think the Broncos though, the fact that they're 4-4 and they're in a wild card spot.
Yeah, the Broncos are playing to win. Yeah,
despite the Von Miller move, I think that was just building up from a couple.
The Chiefs
years, but
the Chiefs
slipping.
Look like they're vulnerable.
Yeah, the AFC looks like it's wide open.
Especially with Henry out, the Titans aren't. You never know with the
that's
AFC
the number 1 team
North
right now. So that's
the Bengals just lost to the Jets.
I mean, Ravens. The Ravens are looking at it.
Crazy.
That was an early Super Bowl favorite. The
there.
Ravens of a lot of people.
Pittsburgh Steelers are in a playoff spot right now, despite their.
Speaking of the Ravens, we have
his tight end. Yeah, tight end. Also, you think with all these. I mean, like I said, top to bottom, this roster is just really good.
It's players that have been on teams that have won championships.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's what you're looking at. That's players.
Has Mark Andrews coming in at the tight end spot. I really wanted Mark Andrews early in the year for sure. I think you took him before I could take. I ended up with Hawkinson, which didn't turn out too bad. I think they're both top 3 tight ends, but nothing bad to say about Andrews. He's passes by now. Barring injury, I think he is pretty much locked in the finishing top 5 tight end.
Another solid.
He's clearly they're throwing the ball more. So.
And then he has depth. So I mean, Charlie's team's looking good. Like we've talked about a little while ago about maybe him making a move with upgrading the RB2 or maybe even the RB1 if he wanted to package something together.
I think that's the only move.
Yeah, he's in a good spot. That's why I threw out the question. Like, is his team as is? Is it able to get past me or Tom? So, like I said, we've been projected.
I think this team can beat anyone any given week.
Yeah, I don't. I can't disagree with you on that. To be honest with you.
And then defense kicker, we won't really focus too much in on. He doesn't have Justin Tucker, unfortunately.
I mean, you can always.
No. Hey,
Charlie owns a Justin
right.
Tucker jersey.
You
for
could maybe
anyone that's unaware.
You shipped him Justin Tucker and maybe Michael Thomas. They were both involved in a trade last year. Charlie. He was sending one out last year, but
with all this running back talk, though, it could come down to if he does make the playoffs, you get a week or two where Adams and Rodgers gets hot. That's it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's a wrap if that happens.
Yeah. I don't have. It feels so weird. We spent 20 minutes last week breaking down the team, and I don't think we said one nice thing, and now we're.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
I mean, it's like what do you? Yeah. It's a great roster. I mean,
it's depth. He's got everything, and it's the Hubbard. If he, if CMC, God forbid, doesn't come back, he's got another running back. He's got depth at the running back position. I think he has 5 running backs.
I'm surprised. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I'm surprised Tom hasn't made Foster and Tom never made. It seems like any. Chance. They made effort. Excuse me, to acquire Hubbard.
Yeah, I know. Well, at the time Charlie was starting Hubbard. Michael Carter hadn't yet broke out yet. So I think it just happened to where Charlie wasn't.
The timing wasn't.
But
Charlie wasn't
yeah, now I think Charlie would listen to any.
Oh yeah,
offer.
yeah, for sure. If I'm Tom, that's something I'm working on. I don't want to give any trade offers for them, but I see a trade staring me right in the face that I'd consider if I was Tom. Talk about it off air. But we'll go into Brian's team. Shirts off, pants down. Shirts off, pants down.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say one thing negative about Charlie's team. The name sucks.
Oh, the name's terrible.
He's got to change that fucking name, man.
I actually think it might be bad juju that he'll never win a title as C Block's biggest loser.
You can't win with that.
You can't put that on a trophy if you do win.
No.
Now, word is, I will say, I
thought he was changing it in the offseason.
I heard word that they're building out a different I can't think of there. A new avatar emblem logo. That's the word. I really do need to get myself together.
Shoot! Did you get here earlier and then leave?
You want to go hang out with me?
It's been a rough week. Yes, the new logo. I heard he has had it drawn up. He's waiting for the right time to announce it. I don't know when that time is.
I hope it's not mid-season. I don't know what's up with these mid-season.
Yeah,
I don't think. No, if he hasn't done it by now, it's not going to.
Just so everybody knows, the off-season, we need noise in the off-season, and shit like that is what we need.
But then it goes to say, if he does win the title, we're talking about his team being great, and he changes it in the off-season, do we still have to put C-Block's biggest loser on the trophy?
If he wins, he can't change it.
I mean,
if he wins, he's
I think that'd be up to him, I guess.
If he wins, he has to keep the name for at least another year.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't change it.
I would still rebrand.
No.
Yeah, I would rebrand. You gotta have, listen, you've got a great name, you've got a great name, I've got a great name. You know, everybody, the majority of this league has great names. You gotta have franchise names. Shirts off, pants down, what is that? What is that? The C-Block's biggest loser? Yeah, but his abbreviation doesn't even make any sense. It has nothing to do with his team name.
I believe he has an Incredibles avatar. Or logo, whatever we're talking.
Yeah, dude, don't even get
So we're starting with his logo, not even his quarterback?
Yeah.
He can't even be bothered to go Google an image that makes more sense. Get somebody pulling their pants down. Come on.
Let's not do that.
Randy Moss.
That would have been great.
That'd be awesome.
That's right on top of that.
Let's go into his team. Shirts off, pants down, 4-4, sitting at I believe he's in fourth in the right by a couple points. Yeah. No,
they're very close. They're
he's in fifth.
They're within.
Charlie, we're talking about.
They're
Charlie
within 2 or 3 points of each other.
Yeah, 2 points.
It's exciting.
Let's start with the quarterback, not the logo. Kyler Murray. Ankle injury.
Yeah, he might have a rough couple weeks there.
Jordan Love, not the solution.
Jordan Love was the pickup. Very interesting. We were just talking about that. But as far as Murray goes, obviously a really good player. These 3 weeks could be big if he happens. I saw it earlier. Glazer said it could affect him up to 3 weeks. I would assume he at least misses one,
right? Murray hasn't rushed for a touchdown since week 3, right?
He's been
that's.
I want to say pedestrian, but he's been okay over the past couple weeks.
He's been okay, but I don't think he's returning what he was drafted
recency bias. Last week he put up 9 points.
Yeah, so it was 25 and 21 before that. I mean, he's number 5 ranked quarterback. He's a good quarterback if he plays. He's a good fantasy quarterback. Brian's in a good position with him.
Yes, but he did not rush for a touchdown since week 3. You are correct.
Which is what, honestly, when did Brian take him? The 4th round, 5th round? That's what you're paying for.
Yeah. He's quarterback 5 on the year. He had, like I said, a ton of really good starts in the early on. 33 points, 18.5, 22. Then he's been 50% since then on plus 20-point games. So.
Yeah, I mean that's. It's solid.
Yeah, he's still playing solid football, no doubt. But the ankle injury, that's he's a mobile quarterback. You need your ankles.
Yeah. And especially at 4-4, Brian.
Unless you're Carson Wentz.
Yeah, Bry's, these are big weeks. He's playing me this week, which is, I'm a game ahead of him. This is huge.
Yes. A win by Charlie over Matt and a win by you over Brian
could really set him back.
Really set him back. Where I think Charlie's team is more built for if he
back.
drops a loss, he can still finish.
So he has me, Brock, Steve, Matt, me, Charlie. So he has a pretty tough road.
Charlie and Brian last week.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you and Matt.
Yeah.
Whoever makes the schedule is a hell of a guy.
Tom gets fucking.
I think that guy's kind of an asshole.
Tom gets
Steve. Steve has a Tom for at least 2 more wins.
Running backs. He has Alvin Kamara, the 3rd overall draft pick, right?
Yes, the 6th ranked running back.
Yes, 6th ranked running
back.
back.
Does Taysom Hill coming in?
With the bye already, he's averaging 18 points.
Does Taysom Hill worry you at all, especially given what we saw last year with these two?
You don't think it adds to his value?
We saw it last year.
Last year it hurt him significantly.
Yeah. It's basically the same team.
Yeah, I guess. I just always feel like that adds to the running back because you see like a Michael Carter.
In theory, it should, but exactly that's why I'm bringing it up because last year it did.
Taysom Hill, I would say, is also more of a goal line vulture.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a runner on the goal line. It's what you see with Kyler Murray and let's say Kenyon Drake last year. Kenyon Drake had a ton of snaps in the red zone, a ton of rushes in the red zone too, but
James Conner's getting all that.
But yeah, he is capitalizing. So Kamara is regardless of what you think. Kamara, you're locking him in. Chase Edmonds, RB1 or RB2, excuse me. J.D. McKissick, 2 RB2s right now. RB20, RB23 on the year.
Yeah, those are 2 guys that you can start them, but you don't feel great about it.
I want nothing to do with the Washington backfield.
Nah, it sucks.
At all.
It's horrible.
Patterson led them in rushes last week. I believe McKissick led them in snap percentage. Now they weren't down much, right? It was more of a
hindsight. My pick probably should have been Mixon because if I was still going running back. But the funny thing is, if I would have picked somebody else, there would have been Calvin Ridley. So even with hindsight, I'm still in the right track with that one because that would have been my pick.
Yeah, the rumors were you were all about Mixon. I was kind of surprised when you didn't take him.
I love Gibson. I love Taylor and Gibson this year. They were my 2 favorite runners. Where I was at.
I heard Taylor. I knew you were taking Taylor in the first. For Gibson though, I think
I was worried about you taking Gibson. That was who I thought.
Yeah, no, I told you I was not going to touch him.
So what do you think of McKissick going forward?
I don't think I might have to play Gibson depending on how everything unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not confident in any start of because the other kid got just as many.
Patterson 11 rushes.
I think that was a symptom of they want to get Gibson healthy going into the bye. I think Gibson will resume his lead back stats, but McKissick, he's always going to be a viable flex because they're not very good. He's a pass catching back, he showed it last year.
No, but Gibson's down to the within 15-yard touchdowns now because I don't think he's outrunning anybody with that. Because that's gotta hurt running on that.
It's just a pain tolerance issue, from what I understand.
McKissick is running back 23. Talking to Brian a little bit about this during the week because me and him were talking, trying to sell him as RB2, but he is the definition of inconsistent. Week 1, 0.8 points. Week 2, 17. Week 3, 4. Week 4, 14. Week 5, 1. Week 6, 15. Week 7, 7. Week 8, 13. So he's literally up, down, up, down, up, down.
If I'm Brian, I'm nervous about my run back too.
Yes, I am very nervous. I think he's doing a hell of a sales pitch, like you mentioned, trying to pitch up, and someone will probably wait for it.
I think he will be the one that makes the deal. I think Brian's a salesman.
I think he's barking up the wrong tree and trying to
con you or somebody who's paying attention.
Really good matchups this week, though.
Yes, he does have decent matchups.
That's all.
But and also I know so. That's the running back. Do you have anything else on the running backs, I guess, before?
No.
Devontae Booker might be a fill-in this week for him with Saquon testing positive for COVID.
Yeah, Booker's a...
Jose can't catch it.
But I think he did produce 1 negative test already since he did. So, yeah.
They did put him on the COVID list already. I know that.
I think you just have to do that, right?
You can take him off.
Booker's a fill-in as long as Saquon's out.
Yeah.
He's nothing great, but he's a flex. Serviceable flex.
If you're Bry, I assume you try to move.
But from a roster construction, that is a temporary thing. That has an expiration date.
Yeah, I think Bry's team, we'll get into the receivers too, but now is very, very upside heavy, but also at the same time, how we just talked about all these running backs. It's either you're going to boom one week, you could bust the next.
Maybe that's where the abbreviation came from. The boom, yeah.
Now it's all coming together.
Boom, bust.
Does he change it every week? Let's go boom, bust, boom, bust.
Dude, he's got to come up with something better. I know that.
Let's go to receivers, though. Deontay Johnson and A.J. Brown. 1-2 punch. Very solid.
Really good receivers.
However, I will say, also, not to talk about Matt's team, but Darrell Williams, another good game this week. Mark it down. I told you he was going to be better than Clyde. He was. David
he didn't have such a good game the other week, didn't he?
No. But when does Clyde have a good game?
Okay, fair point.
Deontay Johnson, AJ Brown. Brian seems to. I don't know if this is another sales pitch. I think AJ Brown might actually get hurt by the Derrick Henry injury. I don't think Tennessee is a team that's going to completely redo their offense. They are 2 games up, or they beat the Colts twice. They basically have the division locked up. I can't think of a mathematic way they lose that division. They're going to rest Derrick Henry. They bring in someone like Adrian Peterson, who is a between the tackles runner now at his age. And I think they're going to continue to do the same thing they tried doing, except now teams aren't going to load the box. Now you're going to see a safety over the top. You're going to see a double team on AJ Brown. Are you worried about Julio or?
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, yes. Well, my point is, if I'm a defense, I'm not going in and game planning. Hey, we need to keep a safety eye on Julio. I'm putting 2 on AJ Brown and saying, beat me with Julio. Beat me with Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson's a Hall of Famer, but at this stage of his career, he is no longer what he was. So yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, this is
last year.
This is
the year before.
No, from fantasy, he'll still be serviceable. Yeah.
Not to hype up my own player that I picked him up, but I think that's where Adrian Peterson's going to see value. They're not going to load the box like with Henry.
He's gonna fall into the end zone.
If he falls in the end zone, and he's going to get those 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards.
Yeah. He's still a big body.
And before you know it, you're going to blink, and he's going to have 15 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. And AJ Brown's going to be double.
That'll probably be
and he's an RB2 to finish out the year.
Yeah,
per usual. And he doesn't have to play the first half of the year. I mean,
exactly.
It's a great pickup.
Well,
especially
back
for
to AJ Brown,
$0,
though, for Brian.
I mean, I think you're right. I don't think they can change the offense with Tannehill.
Yeah.
I don't think they can.
No, you tailor this offense for this.
Yeah. I think. I mean, it depends though. Like, I mean, they may have to pass more. I mean, I think AJ Brown's good enough to where like he's gonna produce. The question with him is he's always hurt.
He's hurt.
Like, I think him and Julio are blood brothers when it comes to that kind of stuff. So it's like that's my concern with him.
I just think even if he stays healthy, they're going to see less plays because Derrick Henry moves sticks. So you're getting more plays out of AJ Brown when Derrick Henry's on the field. They're not loading the box anymore. If I'm a defense, we're going to see. This is the perfect test game in my opinion because you could beat the Rams through the air, and we're going to see this week if now Von Miller may change that defense, but. You're going to see Jalen Ramsey on A.J. Brown, and you're going to see they're probably going to have someone over the top, and this is the perfect test game, in my opinion, to see what the Titans are going to do, and you're going to see it before the trade deadline. So, who knows? We might, I don't know, maybe Brian will
Brian gets a little nervous.
No, I like his receivers.
I do like his one, too.
He has a good team. He has a good starting lineup.
Would you rather Deontay Johnson or A.J. Brown the rest of the year?
Deontay.
Yeah. If I asked you that Saturday, you would have probably hands down to A.J. Brown, right? Or it'd be close.
I still like Deontay. I think because Ben Roethlisberger is going to just hyper-target him.
See. You mentioned Cortland Sutton's his other receiver, and then Antonio Brown and Sterling Shepard, wide receiver 2s on the bench, or 1s, I believe.
Yeah, the problem with this becomes sometimes you have too much. You know what I mean? Especially at the wide receiver position, because then you get caught up in that, who am I going to start this week game, and then you can call it in this guy on my bench had a better game than that. You know,
I roll with 4 wide receivers. I never have that problem.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The wide receiver position's a little different, where you have sometimes too much of a surplus, and he can be in a position that I'm assuming for him it'd be nice to off some of them receivers for a running back, but.
I think, and you could tell he's a little nervous on it too. He's trying to move. Literally, anytime someone mentions a receiver, running back, tight end,
they're all available. Every wide receiver.
Well, he keeps not to get ahead of it. He keeps dangling out Waller too. Which, I mean, when do you start getting nervous about that guy? Like, what's going on with that ankle?
Good segue into the tight end position.
Yes, tight end actually. So Darren Waller, tight end, and Logan Thomas. That ankle injury. He's practicing again this week, so he should be ready to get back on the field. I don't know what to think of the Las Vegas Raiders. They have had the most roller coaster ride of the season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They get out to 3-0, then they fall off. Then their coach gets fired, and then they win 2 games in a row.
Going by.
And now one of their star first-round receivers, unfortunately, prayers and condolences to the family. But I think we can agree, tough spot for Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, I mean, mean, so they released him. So
yes,
I mean,
he is
that has to help Waller, right? Him, Brian Edwards, Hunter
Las
Renfroe.
Vegas County Sheriff's Department picked him up, actually.
They did. Is that where it was, Vegas?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
I think it helps Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible. If Brian Edwards doesn't produce now as well, like, he's probably never going to be a fantasy relevant player. But Hunter Renfroe, I actually considered picking him up, and I noticed he was already on a team.
Yeah, Falsich had him for weeks.
Yeah, so you're probably going to see at least like 7 to 8 targets a week, right?
Every week. Does, don't he?
Yeah.
Renfroe gets.
He's already a target machine. 9, 7, 6, 8, 8, 5, 8.
I think it'll help Waller a little bit as well.
Yeah, more than likely. But Waller too isn't that. The question is now, does it? Because Henry Ruggs stretching the field can open up things in the middle for Waller. That's where he's made his heyday, and does that.
Yeah, I think
come down.
I think it'll depend on what you said about Brian Edwards. If Brian Edwards can now assume that role.
Zay Jones, interesting name as well.
Yeah, he's another one there.
Not that I'm going out to pick up Zay Jones, but I'm just keeping an eye on him.
I was actually thought you meant Brian picked up Zay Jones. I was like, when did you do that?
No. Just a Raiders hot take. But I think you got to play Waller unless you trade him. He's holding on to Logan Thomas. I don't know if does Logan Thomas get all the snaps back. Ricky Seals-Jones has been okay. Not great, but I assume Logan Thomas.
Yeah, well, they committed to Logan Thomas. They paid him. So.
True. That's very true.
He's got a good stretch for the defense coming up too. He's been riding them all fucking.
The Bills, yeah.
The Bills are.
He's got a great stretch.
That's his signature move, yeah.
Always, man. He always has the number one defense.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
I don't think this is the Patriots from 2019.
I think
somebody dropped him.
$5. Yeah. I think someone dropped them on the buy.
If you go down, you could probably see it.
Oh, transactions. They were dropped by. All right. Moving on.
Who was it?
It was Steve.
Come on.
Come on, man.
We tried. We tried to move on to different teams.
I think at the time someone did say, someone dropped the Bills. I'm pretty sure if we go back.
It was Brian. It was Brian, I remember.
Brian in the text?
Yeah, I think he messaged, he was like, someone dropped the Bills, I just noticed them out there, yeah.
$5, man.
Steve is just, he can't help himself.
Man.
Now, Brian's got a good, maybe not
spot.
great team right now.
I think between the two, I think Charlie's got the inside track.
To my question, though, I think you are both right, or at least maybe I think you said it. Brian is probably the one that would need to upgrade the RB2. I think would.
Loves Chase Edmonds, and I was in that boat last year. I get why he loves him, but I don't feel comfortable plugging out Chase Edmonds. Week in,
or
week
McKissick.
out.
Yeah, he's got to do something there.
Yep. But I don't think. Again, this isn't. I know Brian and I have talked. No shocker there, but at the prices that he's asking for, I don't think he's getting.
Sky high right now.
I think it'll set.
I think they'll settle.
I think as the deadline approaches,
it's a fun week. It always is.
Everybody starts sweating and looking around the room. You know, you have a come to God moment. Like, do I really think I can win with this team? If you hesitate before you answer that, you need to make a move.
Yep. If he's looking, I just need to get to the playoffs. Like, you need to get to the dance to win it. But I know I'm not trying. I've been there 4 straight fucking years. I'm not just trying to get to the dance. You're trying to put together that roster.
That's why I'm asking these questions.
To win the league.
Do you think that this is a championship roster?
No.
Brian's?
No.
I don't think
he will not beat you. He will not beat Tom. He will not beat Charlie. Depending on what Matt does, maybe I could see that being.
Unfortunately for Brian, he's got a lot of secondary issues right now that kind of just emerged very recently, where he needs those answered. He needs
Murray
to see.
Just popped up.
Yeah, exactly. Joe made a bunch of really good points about AJ Brown. Yeah. You know, like Taysom and Kamara, they're gonna play nice together this year, or not.
We don't know
like
Waller, with that team. Yeah,
but I mean, he's like he said, he's got a good team. Obviously, he's got a lot of points scored. If I was hedging my bets here, and I mean, like, I think you're safe. I think you're good. Injuries aside, the way it stands right now, I think you have the inside track. Tom is heavily reliant on CMC. Like, that's going to answer a lot of questions. I think if CMC plays, I don't think Brian has a chance of overtaking Matt and Charlie.
You don't think so?
I think Matt is most at risk. I think Charlie will overtake Matt. I think right now it's you, Tom, Charlie.
term.
It'll be interesting, man. It's gonna be. I mean, we got to get through these games first, but to see, like we talked about, maybe CMC not coming back. I think right now we have two.
If CMC gets hurt, I reserve the right to change my opinion.
With a healthy CMC, I think we have two teams that like. It's fantasy, so anyone can beat anyone any week. But I think we have two teams that have championship rosters right now. You know what I mean? But I think there's a bunch of teams that are in that position to make a move to just elevate themselves right into that tier, as we will get next week. But I think there's plenty of teams East and West that have the opportunity with deadline coming up to elevate into that championship roster.
I think 3 of them are sitting at the table. You, I think, have the inside.
Well, that's what I said. I think me and Tom right now have.
I'm
the two main rosters.
I think Tom's receivers worry me.
Really?
Yeah. Because I hate.
Should we go into Tom? Get a third team in here?
I think
finish out the East?
I feel like when you have them on separate teams, it's fine. I think we just look at it because they're on the same team. But I think they're both kind of. I don't know. I feel like they're both I feel like they're both kind of fantasy proof.
If we're gonna go to
like you just mentioned, like maybe I trade for Thielen. Like they're perfect when they're on separate teams. It's just you're looking at it
because you're limiting.
You're limiting your upside.
No, I understand that, but I don't. I think they're in an offense where they both can produce. Every game.
I agree, but I mean, like, here's the thing, especially now, like, Tom doesn't have Derrick Henry anymore. Like, Tom just lost, 24 points a game, some crazy ass shit like that. So I mean, he needs to put, like, I mean, he just scored 95, which is by far his lowest total.
Yeah. That was with a banged up Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry only scored 7 points.
Yeah, well, now he's not getting any points from Derrick Henry.
Right, but what I mean is he would have a healthy, no matter who it is.
I think with Joe, I think Joe's right. I think, and Tom knows this too, because Tom's been shopping both of these receivers around. I would try and move one of them.
I mean, he's been shopping CMC.
Has he?
Yeah, I mean, he puts him out there.
I don't read all his texts, but.
So, this year only. I think 10 points is probably going to happen. You're okay, but you don't love that.
You're okay with your flex, because you look at them as either, okay, if this one did good, he's my wide receiver 2, the other one's a flex. If this one did good, he's my, you know what I mean?
You have 2, if I'm looking at like...
6.5,
yeah. Like, when you see like when one blows up, like this week, 16.8, 3.1. It's just really tough to maintain 10 targets per
Yeah, but I think, like, all right, so your wide receiver 2 and your flex, what are you looking to get out of that? 30 points?
That would...
that'd be really
28
nice.
Is 28 like what are we expecting him to? 28,
but the
27?
problem is when you go up against a team like yours, like
you need,
what are you getting out of it?
Yeah, you need the opportunity for it.
Yeah.
No,
and you're limiting yourself right off the bat.
He's right. I know he has to make a move, but I still think if that's what it after
in a vacuum, I would love to have either one of them on my team. Just like I wouldn't want to start both of them at the same time.
I just think even after the deadline with no moves, that Tom is still in a position to win a championship.
If he has CMC,
with them too,
absolutely.
CMC,
of course. Well, I mean, he has Jamar Chase too. So I mean, and Darrell Henderson. So like, Tom's got a really good team.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's number 1 quarterback.
Yeah. Is that the Tom breakdown?
What?
Is that the Tom breakdown too?
Real quick, yeah, I guess.
Well, all right. Well, maybe we'll sneak in a Tom, Matt, and we'll try to zoom through a couple. The West next week will be. We can do
they're all lumped together.
Pre-trade, the bottom 3. It's
top 3, bottom 3. We just run through the roster.
Yeah.
This is good. I do like the roster breakdown. We do get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think Tom needs minimal. Like, Tom's not like Brian. Tom just needs minimal things, and he's just got to have his fingers crossed on CMC.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you want to go into
unless he can pitch CMC for like Cook or something crazy, but.
You want to go into the weekly games? See what we think.
Yeah.
Real quick.
You can write this down this week because I don't got it.
One of these weeks we should probably look back to see
who's
actually doing
well.
So it's all on camera.
We never ever add these up though.
Yeah, but all we gotta do is go through.
Did we do last year's at all?
No, we did for a little bit. Remember we had I think week 5 we stopped.
All right. You want to hear you?
Okay. Well, we'll start off with your game. So you 110 versus Jose, projected 77. That can't be a 14.
Right? He had Saquon in, and I'm sure they put Saquon at 0.
He don't have anybody else to put in. Oh, he's got David Johnson, but
he has David. All right, so we'll give him 7 more points, so 84. So 110 to 84.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take you. Mike all around.
This fucking West.
Let's go to another West game. Myself versus Foster. Actually, this one could be close. See, right now they're giving James Robinson the start. So they have him in for 12 points. Yeah, I'm with James Robinson starting. I'm projected to win 104 to 97.
I almost don't know what's better for me in this situation. Do I want you to lose or do I want you to win?
Win knocks you in.
Personally, I'd like myself to win.
No, yeah, I'm just thinking.
Alright, so
like, because Foster's the guy that's behind me.
Yeah. Do you want the bye or the playoffs?
I'm
Bye's always
you.
nice, but yeah, I mean,
I just don't think he has the firepower. Drake.
Yeah, we'll see.
You don't have anyone on bye this week.
He's got
right?
Higgins and.
I have Calvin Ridley on bye.
Yeah, but
for a long time.
He's never been on your team.
No, I have Hawkinson on bye. In all reality.
You picked up Ertz,
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I
feel like they're trying to get Ertz more involved.
Yeah. My running backs kind of keep me alive, and Lamar, my running backs.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I said it
yeah.
upstairs. Yeah, you got a good core.
Really
cool. Good core.
All right, we'll go me all around. I think there.
Yeah.
The next Western game is Brock versus Alex. Right.
I mean, projection-wise, this one's going to be interesting. Once you add up all the points.
Who was Brock missing? Because he was at like 85.
He's missing a flex.
A flex and a tight end.
See, if it was anybody else, if my brother wasn't an idiot and he's paying attention now, like I can guarantee you, and this is no inside information, Brock is going to claim Hunter Henry, who Brian dropped.
He already has Jericho.
Brock does?
Yeah, he's already rostered.
He just hasn't put it in. I think he'll still claim Hunter Henry.
Yeah. No, I think we'll roll with Jericho.
You think?
Yeah.
Against us?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So you're looking at you're adding another like 17 points to Brock's total, so he's going to be up to like.
Same thing with Alex. I mean, Alex is missing a defense.
Yeah.
And you could put Jacobs in over Singletary.
Is Jacobs playing this week?
He's no destination.
Yeah. They're going to be very close. They're going to be probably almost like a pick 'em.
Yeah. I actually. Oh man. I like Brock on the matchups. Just going off his greens on his compared to.
I want to say something you're going to regret.
Looking at Alex's team, he's got a lot of tough matchups. It looks like. So I will go.
Yeah,
with,
I think Alex can't win with. Well, I mean, it depends on what game you think Mike Williams.
I'll go with Brock.
I actually.
Mike Williams has come back down.
Alex's running backs are my receivers.
Yeah, pretty much.
They are, man. I'm gonna take Alex.
Jacobs is an all right running back. He's actually pretty good. But yeah. See, I don't.
I'm gonna have to take Alex here.
Yeah, I like Brock.
I think it's just.
Because I think Mike Williams has like fallen back to earth.
You know what? Switch me up. Give me Brock.
Yeah,
I was picking with my heart instead of my head. All right, let's go over to the first East matchup. We have Tom versus Steve. Tom, without Derrick Henry, is projected to win by about, 25 points?
Yeah. I'm just going to circle Tom for all three of us.
Steve trouting out Emmanuel Sanders and Carlos Hyde and some other guys.
Carlos Hyde might bump up in rejection.
Carson Wentz on Thursday.
John Taylor on Thursday.
All right, let's jump to Brian versus Jake. This one is much more interesting.
Have we decided which one we're giving the designation to? I guess you kind of just did.
Yes,
okay.
yeah, I think.
Matt's in first place. I think you got to get on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just talked about Charlie's team being better than Brian's. So.
Yeah.
Man, I think this comes down to the quarterbacks. Does Patrick Mahomes get right? And does he need to get right? I think.
Trust Pat Mahomes more than I trust Jordan Love.
I'll tell you what, I don't. I think it's going to be another Jonathan Taylor week this week in Cooper Cup. I think.
Taylor's been killing it. He's a top 5 running back, right?
He's number 3.
Number 2.
And he will be soon number 2.
He is number 2.
Well, you soon will. Who's number 1?
Derrick Henry. Yeah.
So that's what I meant. That's what I was trying to get at. Essentially, he's going to be the running back.
Eventually, though, but Derrick Henry has like a 40-point lead on everybody else, I think.
Give him a couple weeks.
It's going to take a minute.
Ain't that crazy? Zeus doesn't play football for the rest of the season.
I think I was looking at it. I thought he was at
40.
180 or something, and the next running back was like 140.
He's going to finish a top 20 running back.
Yeah, it's insane.
He played half the season.
Insane.
Yeah.
You could probably still keep. Honestly, they're just doing it because
I think my matchups. I really like the Cowboys defense this week, and I think I just have really good matchups. I think I'm going to put up another solid 120, 130 this week.
Yeah, the Cowboys are 10-point favorites over the Broncos.
I think without Mary Bryant, just doesn't. He's not going to be able to.
Without Mary, if Mary doesn't play, I love you. Here's a pick. Patterson and Pitts concern you against that New Orleans defense? They've been playing really well.
Pitts concerns me every week.
Lattimore's a dog, man.
Patterson has kind of become like fantasy proof. Like he's just matchup proof fantasy. Like he just gets his
line him up everywhere.
He catches the ball. He runs the ball. on the field for a majority of snaps, and he's just had so many opportunities.
He starts throwing the ball, look out.
It's a wrap if he starts throwing the ball.
Kadarius Toney can throw the ball 70 yards. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah, he did. Him and Cedric Wilson had some good completions.
2 targets the first game.
Yeah, it was the best week in the history of wide receivers throwing the ball. Right?
7 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets, 5 targets, 5 targets.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to go Jake.
When his targets are down, his attempts are up. You know what I mean? So he's a factor.
I'm going to go. You sold me. I'm going, yeah.
Thank you.
He sold me. Cedric Wilson has a fucking laser, though. I don't know if anyone saw that running throw. Look it up. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, it's hard to go against Jake here.
Yeah.
But just for the sake, so we have some dissenting opinion.
Brian has really good matchups.
Give me Brian.
Yeah,
I'll take Brian just so it's
Jordan Love coming in hot.
We'll see.
All right, Matt and Charlie.
I think Murray plays.
Charlie is projected to win by 9 points right now.
And that's roster set, I think.
Yep.
Well, I'll save everybody some time. Char by 10.
I'm gonna go Char as well.
Yeah, I like Charlie this week. I said this off air. I think Charlie's gonna smack Matt this week. I think Matt finally gets a reality check.
Matt's been
starting to come up. Matt will tell you he's starting to come up on the hard part of his schedule. So
yeah,
this is where teams are going to start scoring. You got to keep up with them. And like I said, he's been playing through his competition, which is fucking weird. But I think
he got by with a 78-pointer this past week.
I think the schedule starts catching up to him a little bit.
Yep.
So I will go try.
Could be the case. That about wraps it up, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Remember, 2 shows next week, pre-trade deadline, post-trade deadline, maybe if anyone makes trades.
Have your phone on, guys.
Yes. Some
Alex,
of you turn it on for
Rob,
the first time this year.
Alex.
Jose, I mean, come on. You said your team's literally a dumpster fire. You got to make a deal, buddy.
To help everybody. People want somebody.
Just wait until after we play. Thank you.
Cool. We'll catch you guys next week. See ya.